This episode is brought to you by Leprechaun Transport. They can transport almost anything across the city, across the state, or even across the country, whether it's big or small. They know Perth better than the back of my hand. Oh, look at that. I've not seen that before. Anyway, next time you need to get something moved, give them a call. You'll find their contact details on their Facebook page, which is at www.facebook.com/Leprechaun Transport.
G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, then a real special g'day to you. So in today's video, we're going to continue looking around the old Albany Historic Whaling Station. If you missed the first video, I'll put a link up here to that one and you can go back and have a look at that one later. In that video, we had a quick look at the story of the whaling station and a walk around the whale chaser. Now after we finish this video on the whaling station, we're going to go at the back and check out the wildlife park. This is included in the price of going into the station. This is my first time going into the park, and to be honest, when I saw it in the past, I figured it was just some poor attempt with a couple of kangaroos or something up behind the trees sort of thing. Well, it wasn't. I'll show you later. If you haven't already, then consider subscribing to the channel by going down the bottom down here and hitting the subscribe button, and hit that bell next to it because that'll let you know when I've uploaded another video. And while you're hitting things down there, don't forget to hit that thumbs up as well, because that really helps the channel out by making YouTube recommend my videos to other viewers. Now while you're doing that, I'll run the intro and then we'll get started. Bloody amazing! Now, as we saw in part one, the whaling station opened as a tourist attraction in 1980, and they haven't really stopped upgrading and working on the place since then. Now the big tanks out the front, that used to hold all the whale oil, but today they're used for something else, and we'll come back to that later. As we enter the first building, we see the steam engine from the Whale Chaser 3, which was sunk as a dive wreck not too far from here. This is a working engine, albeit now running on an electric motor. If you do a tour with a guide, then they'll turn it on and you can see it moving. I also seem to remember one guide saying one time that this is the same type of engine that was used in the Titanic, although on a larger scale. The engine was a 2 times high pressure and 2 times low pressure steam motor producing 1700 horsepower. The steam to drive it was produced by 2 oil-filled water tube boilers, which pushed the boat along at about 15 knots. So, when the whales are brought in the morning, in the evening, came back, they used to tie them off to that little rock seam over there. That's that little rock there. They used to tie the whales to that rock until they were ready for them. That's why they were shot. What our most excellent guide was trying to say before the wind started up was that when the whaling boats came back at night, they would tie the whales up to the little rock island. Then the next morning, a small boat would bring them into the bottom of the ramp, where the winches would drag the whales up to the spot where the wooden floor is. Here they would start cutting the blubber off with the help of the winches. Then the parts would be dragged up to the next level where they could be cut up into smaller pieces and pushed down into the holes in the floor, which would then go into the cookers. Thank you, our most excellent guide. After spending some time in the cookers, the oil could be separated from the solids. Some parts, like bones, would then go into this drum, which had massive chains that would pound them into smaller pieces. Then after all that, they would end up with a number of different products to sell, the main one being oil, which was stored in the big tanks out the front. Some other products were bags of whale solubles, which was a food supplement for cattle, and whale meat. The meat was popular, not because it tastes good, but because it was cheap. Every part of the whale was used, nothing was wasted. There were other parts to the processing, like the steam heated roller dryers, which were used to make the solubles. Spread throughout the station are artefacts from the whaling industry of the past. Remember that little boat that was used to bring the whales to the station? Well, that's here too. When you consider how many white pointers were chewing around on the whales on a free lunch, should have got a bigger boat. Now, remember these tanks just here out the front? This is where the oil was stored. And every, 3 to 6 months, a boat would come in to take the oil away. And it would park out here. But before any oil could be transferred to the ship, a diver would have to first swim along the pipeline looking for any damage or leaks. The oil was too valuable for it to just leak away into the ocean. And remember those sharks having lunch? Now, as for those tanks, they've been turned into theatres of different types, of different themes. One's about whaling history, another about sharks, and another one has this amazing 3D story of the whales. Now, unfortunately, I've lost the footage that I had of the inside of the tanks, but I'll put a link in the description of a website I found that had some pictures of it. And the last one has been turned into this amazing viewing platform. At the right time of the year, it's possible to be able to see whales playing around just out there. So that's the whaling station. Now, the thing to remember is that today we know that whaling isn't really a good thing. But in its day, it's just what people then considered as normal. It's because humans are always evolving that we change things hopefully for the better and not repeat the past. The station isn't about glorifying the whaling industry. It's about showing visitors the facts of life from long ago, but also educating the next generation. And I think they do a pretty good job of that. There are a few other parts to the station that I have chosen not to show in this video, but they are still very much part of the education process. But you'll have to come and see that for yourself. Now, let's go out the back, which is actually really out the front that way, and have a look at that animal park. As part of your ticket to go into the whaling station, they also have this new wildlife park just next door, and it gives you access into that. And something I think is quite neat is the fact that if you don't have time to do the whaling station and the wildlife park, you put your name down at the counter and you can come back up to 3 days later and do it then, which I think is pretty neat. And I've just found out you can even go back through the whaling station again if you want to. Don't get that in too many places. There are a lot of animals in here that are not native to WA, or at least to this region, so it's an opportunity to see something different particularly if you're not travelling further than the southwest area. I didn't have real high expectations because I figured not charging you extra coming here, so I didn't think there'd be much here. But we've only just come in through the gate, and in the first two pens that we've looked in, you can actually see the animals that are supposed to be in there. It's not like some places you go to where it's a like a hunt to try and work out where something is. Here they're quite easy to see and clearly quite comfortable.
I've got food. Come here for food.
Oh my god, that was funny.
I speak kangaroo.
You have tweaked his interest. Heading to the back of the wildlife park, you pass through another gate into a huge park area with a wide selection of native plants. I could see this place could be popular during the wildflower season by wildflower fanatics. It's got all the facilities from toilets to barbecues and somewhere to sit. It would be a good spot on a nice day to just sit and watch the world go by. So that's the wildlife park and botanical gardens up here. That's that done. Not a bad area up here, plenty of parking, toilets, got barbecues and places to sit and everything, but it's a bit strange. They spent a lot of money here, but the gate's closed and you generally can't get into here. So it's a bit strange, but anyway, that's it for the whale world and, well, the whaling station and the wildlife park. So if you like what you saw, then hit the subscribe button down the bottom down there, and also the thumbs up as well. But anyway, until next time, happy travels.
It's not fun here. They promised us games, Jackson. Now. I always walked into it. Save ourselves. The whale ghosts have taken him.
We kept going the other way because there was stuff the other way, I think.
The whale ghosts have taken him. I'm telling you now, Dad's gone. You're exploiting my murder.